Okay. Since the gym was closed due to a seminar and we didn't have class, I thought I'd finally break down to doing a little stretching tutorial because a couple of people asked me about my flexibility. So, what you're seeing here is my personal stretching routine, starting with the upper body stretches. And everything I do for a 10 count. So, this whole routine will generally take me about 15 to 20 minutes. And I just do this essentially every night before I go to bed, and I'm done. It's not hard. Something that's really important, however, you'll see here I'm actually wearing sweatpants. And what you can't see is that actually the heater is on in the room and the door is closed because I like it to be a bit warm and comfortable when I'm stretching. I'm not someone who thinks you need to do this sort of hot yoga where everything is at 45 degrees and you're sweating like crazy, but I do think it's a bit more beneficial for your muscles to be stretching in a warm environment as opposed to the cold one. It essentially is just injury prevention. So, and now just turning around here just so you can see I'm very bad at this particular stretch. As you can see, my muscles in my shoulders are actually very tight. I can just barely touch the two fingertips together, and that's about it. I don't know if you can tell from the video. This one actually makes me sweat a little bit, just because it's one of the harder stretches for me to be able to pull off. Again, I'm not doing anything that hurts. It's just a lack of mobility. This is actually a fairly comfortable stretch for me. Not again, I could probably pull it further if I wanted, but I don't want to risk injury. And those are the upper body stretches I go through. So now let's head to the lower body stretches, starting in the standing position. Obviously, the first one is just a simple toe touch, stretching out the hamstrings a bit and the lower back. And honestly, these stretches are really nice, especially this one for my lower back. I work in an office 8 to 10 hours a day, so I'm sitting in a chair, and to be quite frank, I don't have the best posture. So after a while, the lower back just starts to basically hurt. So doing these every day, it helps keep me a bit basically healed. I'm not in as much lower back pain as I could be. I don't need massages all the time. And something also really important you'll see me doing here is I'm moving around in this stretch. I like to do a lot of hip openers because my hips are fairly tight. But while I'm moving around, I'm not bouncing. I have a friend who teaches yoga, and she was really specific that you shouldn't be bouncing because that's very bad for your muscles. You could tear something. So, in the last couple of stretches in the standing position are these, and I actually like these for two reasons. One, I like the stretch, obviously, but two, this gives you the chance to work on your balance a bit as well. So, when you're doing this, you can basically practice a bit of standing on one foot, which, if you're doing judo, especially throws like uchimata or similar ones, you actually really need that one-legged stability that this kind of a movement gives you. So that's another reason I like doing this particular kind of stretch. It just basically works on my balance. So, and those are the standing lower body stretches. Now we can go through to the seated lower body stretches, starting with more hip openers and a simple butterfly stretch. Something you'll see me doing sometimes when I do this is what you just saw me hiking up my pant legs. That's just because the pants, they're not stretching as much as they could. So if I don't do that, they tend to basically block my movement and I can't move around as much as I would like, especially that thick kind of sweat pant material that doesn't allow a lot of mobility. So now we're getting to a stretch that again is just wonderful for the lower back. I actually just enjoy being in this kind of a stretch in general. This one just feels really nice and I enjoy it. And then again doing the exact same kind of stretch but then rolling back on my head. And again, I just honestly, this kind of does wonders for my lower back. Every time I do this, I just feel my lower back saying, thank you, please do some more of this. And like I said at the beginning, all of this to basically a 10 count. I don't like to go beyond 10. I was reading once in a journal that any stretch beyond 30 seconds is basically a waste of time and you're doing more harm than good, so I just do a 10 count and finished. Now, here is a area that actually this is what I think everyone's thinking about when they say that I'm very flexible. And I guess in this direction I actually am. I can it's hard to see, but I can actually pull my foot directly to my chest there and it's actually pressed against my chest. This one, I actually get kind of funny looks from people at the gym when they see me stretching out like this in the gym. But this is actually a range of flexibility I personally, in my game, find very useful, especially in the gi when you're doing spider guard and lapel guard and any sort of guard retention. The ability to kind of bring my feet very close to my head like this really helps me and to be able to catch someone into my guard when they're trying to pass me. So, as honestly, I can use this level of flexibility very often to catch people off guard. So, here's a simple hurdle stretch. I think everyone's seen this one before. Honestly, I think anyone who's seen The Karate Kid more than once has seen this stretch. But again, I like to use some time and practice bringing my feet to my head. You actually, I love seeing the look on people's faces when they see the old guy able to put his foot there when they're trying to pass his guard. It never ceases to shock people who are younger than I am. The look on their face is always, oh, I've got him now, and hey, what just happened? So, but honestly, even my wife has been a little surprised at my range of flexibility here, so I think this is actually what everyone thinks of when they say I'm flexible. Here is, however, definitely not an area I'm flexible in. This is my worst stretch. I've got a lifetime goal of being able to eventually be able to do a split, but I don't know if my genetics and my age are going to allow that. But again, this goes back to me saying earlier, I like to focus on opening my hips as much as possible. But this one is also the one I like to take the most care because if I try to push this one too far, it feels like it has the most potential to actually damage my joints or my hips. So I like to take this one nice and easy. I don't want to push myself too far too fast. So after doing the stretch for a while, I like to take a chance, push my feet a little bit further apart, and then go nice and deep and long. And after that, I go into a simple calf stretch. I started doing this early on in training. When I first started training, I had a problem of cramps in my calves. I don't know if this stretch necessarily helped it. That might be a case of correlation and causation. I mean, my diet's also very different from back then, and a bunch of other things have changed, but I still don't get those cramps since I started doing this stretch, so I just kept it basically. I figured it wouldn't hurt. And here, this stretch is again a bit of stretching for my back, and honestly, I just do this because it just feels good. It loosens my back up a lot, which again, I work in an office, 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours a day. I like to have my back nice and loose. Otherwise, I think I'm going to be like the old man in a rocking chair when I'm 50. So, and now we're at the last few stretches, and you see me now trying to find a position that you'd be able to see this better in the position I'm in. So, settling there. With these last ones, it's more about usable flexibility, as I like to call it, as opposed to total flexibility. If I started tugging on my leg, I could probably get it higher than it is, but I like to keep it into a range of motion that I can personally move. I'm always kind of impressed by the range of motion that like ballerina have. I'm honestly just shocked that they can move the way they can. I'd love to have that level of flexibility and mobility in my joints. But again, I think I started all of this too late in life, and I don't think I have the genetics for it. But long story short, that's my stretching routine. So that's basically every day, and you're done.